Hey, Dr. Mike here. So if you want to live forever-ish, you got to know what's in and what's not. Stay tuned to find out.
You're listening to Live Foreverish, a show dedicated to helping you live just a little longer. Here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal Gossard.
All right, welcome to Live Forever-ish. Dr. Crystal, we love this, Live Forever-ish, right?
That's
how are we going to do that?
Strong, healthy, vibrant.
Yeah, all that. It's all good stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Some extra years are nice too, but they got to be good years.
Yes. Absolutely.
Good.
They have to. You want them to be good years where your brain's functioning, your joints moving.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about 3 ins.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And 1 out. The 3 ins, that's what you want.
Right.
You want to do these things, take these things, da 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 da. But the last one is what we want to avoid, because that's not going to help us be strong and vibrant for many years. So let's get down with number 1. This is the first in, and I'm excited to see it, chia seeds.
Yes. Do you make any type of recipes with chia?
I add them right on my salads.
Oh.
Yeah. And I like flax and chia. Like I even make a little mix. And it has like a little extra, and it's really good when you're doing like the leaf, like the softer greens. Like if you're doing like a spinach salad or something like that, because it adds some crunch
to it.
Yeah.
Ah, you're a texture guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta have it. Gotta have all the tastes and
I've
feels.
never used them that way. I always just use them to make chia pudding.
I've had that too.
My kids love it.
And it's very good.
And it's healthy.
Why are we talking about it helping us live forever-ish?
Well, there are two inspirational things. One, an article published this year in the journal Food Science and Nutrition titled Chia Seeds, a Therapeutic Weapon in Metabolic Disorders.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
And then Life Extension, our sponsor, wrote an article, their July 2023 magazine, and they featured chia seeds as the superfood.
Superfood, yeah. And that title that you just said, the therapeutic weapon, right? That's from Food and Science and Nutrition. That's a solid peer-reviewed journal. Like
absolutely.
So they're serious about this.
Right. And so we will go over some of those metabolic disorders that they reference. They kind of list it all out and have detailed sections on the research related to those different disorders like blood pressure, blood sugar, things like that. But I think we need to let them know what chia seeds are.
What it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, before something that doing this research, right, that that caught my eye. It's not about what they are, but it's how they were used by the Aztec.
Oh.
Cosmetics.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what they were doing and how they were doing it on their face. Like, I don't know, but there's evidence that they were using like on their face and stuff, like the oil maybe, or
I don't know.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Okay.
But yes, it's the consumable seeds from a plant that belongs to the mint family. And yes, it originates in Mexico and Guatemala.
Yeah. And so again, there's white and black, right? Chia seeds. And in nature, it's usually you find it as a blend. But if you want to buy, most of the brands in the stores, they separate them though, right? I don't see them blended together that much.
Right. I usually just see the black chia seeds,
but
they kind of look gray,
grayish. That is. All right. So let's get into why. Again, the whole point of this is something you want to consume, right? Because it helps us to live forever-ish. What are some of the things, based on the studies, the superfood article, that we know that chia seeds can help with?
Well, the list is long.
It is. I'm looking at it right here. Just go down the list. Just do.
Blood lipid profile, lowering blood pressure. In fact, studies show that consuming 40 grams of chia seeds per day for 12 weeks helps reduce systolic blood pressure. That's that top number in people with hypertension and type 2 diabetes. So again, blood sugar, antimicrobial, boosts your immune system, anti-blood clotting. That was in that paper.
Yeah.
Laxative effect, antidepressant, analgesic properties, weight loss.
Yeah.
Which does not surprise me, Dr. Mike, because one of its star nutritional components
Say
is fiber.
Yay, fiber alert. Hey, I wonder too, though. I can't remember where I read this. It was like a review of different nutrients that affect some of the fullness hormones.
Yes.
And I think I saw chia seeds on that it's not just the fiber, that it's affecting the hormones that tell you you've had enough.
Right.
So there's a hormonal effect.
So are you saying effects outside of what the fiber would have?
I
with
think
those
so.
hormones?
Yeah, I saw something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So weight loss, and this was studied in obese people with type 2 diabetes, and that's where and that's great. So you're looking at somebody who really needs to lose weight.
That's right.
And they had a nice result.
Yes. Just to give some highlights of the nutritional profile, 1 ounce or just 2 tablespoons. And that's about the amount that I use when I make my chia pudding, 2 tablespoons.
I'm trying to think how much I put on my, I just kind of throw it on.
Yeah.
People could, if you watch on YouTube, you can see what I did. People listening don't know. I threw chia seeds on my bowl.
Yes, but you have to be careful because they form kind of like a gel. That's why they're great with making the puddings. You put them in with almond milk or regular milk or whatever you would like to use, and then they start kind of swelling and absorbing that liquid and forming a nice pudding.
Yeah. They do get a little, if you don't eat the salad fast enough, they do kind of the dressing or whatever you're using, it gets a little jelly-like.
That's all the soluble fiber, Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
So yes, just 2 tablespoons gives you over 4 grams of protein, 11 grams of fiber, 7 grams of unsaturated fat, provides 18% RDA for calcium and trace minerals, zinc, copper, contain all 9 essential amino acids.
Listen,
it's a superfood.
It is. It's one of those things where if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you should be this is a great protein source.
Great protein, and it gives you omega-3s.
Yeah. Chia.
Who knew?
Chia seeds, smoothies, baked goods. You have your pudding. I just throw them right on salad. There's a lot of things you can do with them.
Yeah. So if you see them in the market, check it out. Add it to your salad.
Living FOREVERISH. That's number 1. Let's go on to number 2. This is the second thing you want to do to live strong and vibrant for as many years as you can, right? And that's SAMI. I think we ought to tell them what SAMI is.
Yes.
I think most people probably heard of it.
No, I don't know.
All right.
Maybe our loyal Live FOREVERish
they probably
listeners,
do.
They're pretty savvy. You're savvy out there, but I think it's worth an explanation. It's S-adenosyl methionine. So we just look at that root word methionine, which is an amino acid. Again, one of the amino acids building blocks for proteins, and it's compound found naturally in the body, and it's pretty important. Yeah.
It's the S. It's sulfur containing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've talked about this and the importance of sulfur containing. At the end of the day, sulfur containing compounds are good for you. It's just why the cruciferous vegetables are so good.
Yes, very true.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it's those sulfur compounds that play a big role in how the DNA is your genes, right, are regulated, turning on and off, right? Because there's these methyl groups, right, that come from the SAMI.
Right. Yes. It's a pretty complex topic, Dr. Mike, but I think we can simplify it just to explain that there are chemical processes that occur in the body, and these processes are involved with the production of neurotransmitters, with helping the liver to detox, making cysteine, NAC, is produced in this pathway. And what kind of keeps that pathway moving is the transfer of these methyl groups.
The methyl groups,
right? And the methyl groups, it's just carbon and hydrogen, and it's being transferred, and it's just keeping the process going. And what that process, and when you start looking at the DNA and its genes, it also helps to turn on and off genes. Yeah. Right.
And that's we call that methylation.
Right.
Right.
Adding the methyl groups.
Yeah, and when you do that, it's very important to have good methylation, because a lot of that methylation happens and turns off genes that are related to overgrowth, right? cancer, basically.
Yes.
And so when you lose methylation as you get older, you're allowing some of those genes that you don't want that promote more division, more cycle, more cell growth, and that's not good. So methylation is really important, especially as we age.
Yes, and so SAMe is our primary methyl donor.
Yeah.
To deliver those that carbon and that hydrogen to keep to turn those genes off that we don't want turned on.
Yeah.
And so if we don't have enough, then the body can't methylate properly, and then that translates to health concerns.
Yeah, well,
conditions.
it's been a low level of methylation, as I mentioned, cancers, Alzheimer's. And the reason we're talking about it here is it's linked to longevity.
Yes.
If you lose methylation, you lose some years.
That's right.
Right? And so that's why it's a live foreverish number 2.
That's right. And so SAMe is something that yes, it's made in the body, but you can also take it.
Take it, yeah, supplement form. And as you get older, it's something you can start taking, add it to your routine, and you can test this now. There's those biological age profiles that look at methylation.
Absolutely.
And if it's low, your biological age is going to be higher.
That's right. So if you want to live forever-ish, consider SAMe.
All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 for living forever-ish is cupping therapy. What this is? Listen, I've seen it.
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
Everyone listening, you've seen it, and you're probably thought, "Man, this looks crazy," or "It looks painful," or "It just looks cool."
Here's what I know. To me, it looks weird, and it looks painful. But I do know this: a lot of athletes get cupping therapy, and they swear by it.
Well, it became popular, a thing that everyone started talking about with one of it, maybe. One of the Olympics, Michael Phelps.
And I think they showed him on TV.
They showed him doing it, and then now you're seeing it all over your social media timeline, and every practitioner now is trying to offer it in their practice.
And so when people are cupping, it's usually done for inflammatory conditions, sore muscles, those kind of things, pain,
chronic
back pain. And it turns out, unless you found something, we don't really know exactly how it's providing that relief. We know it has something to do with drawing up some of that fluid, that kind of stuff. But no one's really perfectly laid this out of what's going on, right?
Right. Yes. We still don't know. There are theories.
Yeah.
On
that's
the
fine.
mechanisms.
That theories are great,
Just
and those need to be tested.
To maybe add more blood flow to a particular area that will help the immune system come to that area and support the healing in that space. Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I've heard too that when you cup and it pulls those layers up, you can pull some of the cartilage up, and it might actually involve a little bit of damage, which then activates healing. It activates more blood flow to that area.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when people do that to their joints. You can add a little stress to the joint to increase its flexibility and mobility.
Right. And then there's also, we've kind of talked about the different types of the massage therapy, and the massage therapy that's really getting down into the lower.
Ooh, that's the stuff you like. That's what you like.
I don't know. I don't like it that much. It's a necessary evil, but really those deep myofascial massages where you are forcing that muscle to kind of loosen up.
Yeah.
Forcefully.
Clearing that skunk out and stuff like that.
And so cupping potentially can help with that as well. There are a couple of types. Right now, we're just talking about the regular old cupping where you just put the cup and use the suction.
That's dry cupping.
That's the dry cupping. Now, if you were to Google this, there is also a wet cupping. So just prepare yourself. If you go to YouTube.
No, I'm intrigued.
Start searching it.
I'm gonna.
Where the wet cupping, which is very popular, they puncture the skin. So do little punctures. And so when you're cupping, that suction is now pulling the blood out, and there's blood pooling in the cup. It's you have to be prepared to know what you're going to be viewing.
Dry cupping's the one that's been around for a long time, right? Is this
wet? No, it's No, the
It's
wet,
wet?
is more of what you see historically used.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
And that's where when you start looking at the research, it gets kind of, you don't really know exactly when they're saying the benefits, if they're referring specifically to the wet version.
Okay.
Or because the wet version seems to be like the real
cupping.
The real cupping.
Well,
this dry version that we're trying to do.
Yeah, but we have some research, like for instance, chronic back pain. This is dry cupping, right? 5 sessions of cupping therapy with 3 to 4 day intervals between the sessions, and with cups applied to the skin for around 8 minutes, achieves significant effects in reducing overall pain. Yeah. That's dry cupping. So there is some
benefit.
You're going to do the wet one, aren't you?
No, from what I've.
Are you going to try? Have you done dry?
I've never tried dry cupping. I've always been intrigued, and so maybe I would try dry cupping, but not the wet cupping.
Okay. Some contraindications: cancer, organ failure, hemophilia, obviously blood disorders. You just got to pacemaker. Talk to your doctor. Don't make sure you get clear to do it. All right. So that's our 3 ins for living forever-ish. I don't think I'm ever going to try that. All right. So let's get into what we don't want. These are the things, right, that inhibit us from living longer, forever-ish. Stronger, energetic, vibrant. And today we wanted to talk about outdoor and indoor air pollution.
Yeah, specifically the indoor, but I wanted to put the outdoor because, man, what people are dealing with now, my father-in-law texted us this morning.
The fires, is that what you mean?
Yeah, he's in Ohio, and he said this morning was worse than yesterday. I mean, just foggy.
Chicago 2 days ago was the most polluted city in the world, like beating some of the cities in India.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, from all that smoke. But now, thank God that's transient, right? I mean, it gets a little bit better. I've always felt that indoor air, though, because here's the thing about indoor air: it can be just as bad, if not worse. But I can do something about the indoor air.
You can. And the indoor air, I think it's worse because we spend most of our times indoors. People spend like 80-90% of their time indoors.
I got my couch. I got my Food Channel on. Charlie next to
well, you better have your HEPA filter as well.
I do have a good filter. I do, because I have pets. I have dogs, so I have fancy filters for my AC and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the EPA studies of human exposure to air pollutants indicate indoor levels of pollutants may be 2 to 5 times, sometimes worst case scenario 100 times higher than outdoor levels.
I have no problem believing that. Right? I really don't.
So you think about the people who this impacts most. The people who they're not mobile. They can't get outside. The elderly, people who are chronically ill. I
know, and those are the people that need clean air, right? I mean, they're already at risk and stuff. So number one, we have indoor air offenders.
Well, we do have some offenders, but really we're just focusing in on the top indoor air offender.
Okay, which is
combustion appliances,
gas stoves.
That's it. Ovens. Of course, furnaces, water heaters, but it's really the gas ranges is the focus.
Yeah, and it's one thing to have a bunch of gas, because I know chefs prefer gas, right? But when you look at their kitchens, you look at their restaurants, they have like massive hoods that are constantly it's just a different environment if you don't have that kind of stuff at your house, right? So everybody has a hood, a little vent one, but it's not the industrial ones at the restaurants use. Right. So it is an issue. And didn't you tell me, I can't remember how long ago this is. We've done so many episodes. You had said even if the gas stove is off, it's still emitting some stuff.
Yeah, yes, more than a third of Americans cook with gas. In a 2022 study, this is when we talked about it.
Was that long ago?
Yeah, well, a year ago. Okay. Found that most methane emissions occurred when the stove was turned off.
See, now you got to wonder, is there leaking? Like what's going on?
That's one of our tips that we'll talk about is just make sure you service your stoves. You're supposed to have people come out and service them.
Yeah, and people probably don't do that. Here's why you want to make sure you're servicing those stoves. Benzene That's a big carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
Methane, carbon monoxide. That kill you. Formaldehyde. I mean, so that's kind of a weird one, right? I don't know why that's coming out, but yeah, you got it. If you have a gas stove, a lot of the older homes, I think more of the newer ones probably are electric, but a lot of the older ones, 60, 70, 80, they have.
I have a gas stove.
You have a gas stove? Yeah.
I have a gas stove, and then I realized recently that we were not using our hood to its max capacity.
See?
We realized it could actually go higher with the sucking capabilities. So yeah, check that out too. If you have a hood, make sure you use it. We use it on max power. We can't hear each other and we're in the kitchen. We don't care anymore.
Yes.
We turn it on, and we turn it on not just when we're using the stove top, when we're baking, when we're using the oven, we have to remember to also turn it on. So that's something to do.
So get and again, this was the 2023 study in environmental science and technology.
That's hot off the press.
Yeah. A meta-analysis of 41 studies on gas stoves and childhood respiratory health concluded that children who live in homes with gas stoves had a 24% higher risk of lifetime asthma and a 42% increased risk of having asthma currently.
That's scary.
That's some high stuff.
But especially when you start thinking about our babies, our children.
12%, I just read this, 12% of childhood asthma from that same study in the U.S. is attributable to gas stoves.
Yeah.
You going to change yours to electric?
Let that sink in.
But it is, people do love to cook on gas stoves. But I don't think you need to change your gas stove. Service it, get a good hood.
That's it. Open up the window.
Open up the windows.
And use the exhaust fan and make sure everything is just maintained and in good condition.
Yeah. And it's not just open your windows when you're cooking, right? It's suggested for 30 minutes a day or something. Open up the windows around the kitchen.
Absolutely.
Just let it vent a lot. Clean the filters. Get HEPA filters, critical.
We have them in every room.
Yeah.
But we're the extreme family.
Yeah, you guys are, but that's good. That's good. I love this. Get a bunch of plants.
Yes.
Household plants.
It makes you happy to see all the greenery. It gives you can care for the plants and they are giving you great clean air.
It is. I'll tell you something. A few houseplants here and there can change a room. It really can. Yeah. The look and everything. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yes.
What about radon? Isn't that something too that if you have gas stoves, you probably need to test your home once in a while?
Right. Well, I think you should just in general.
So it's not just gas stoves;
right.
It's just in general. Okay. And that's a lung cancer causer. So so there you go. Yeah. What's out? Bad indoor air. Take care of that gas stove. Right?
And you have to. And one thing we have to remember, especially here in South Florida, Dr. Mike, it's more of a problem. The way we're building buildings and homes now with like the impact windows and everything, we are sealing ourselves in. It's a good thing, but it's really not good when related to indoor air.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you could make the argument that back in when we were 10,000 years whatever, our shelters were open air.
Yes.
Right. And I mean, we're not going to do that now. I kind of like my roof, but I open up the windows even when it's hot, just for a few. Just get some fresh air moving in and out. So there you go. 3 ins: chia seed. Then we had Sammy, and then we had dry cupping, and of course the out is bad indoor air. You want to clean that up. Dr. Crystal, thanks for joining me. Our sponsor, Life Extension, is offering our listeners a 10% discount. All you got to do is go to lifeextension.com, buy whatever you want to buy, and then at the cart, just put in podcast. Right? It'll tell you. It'll ask for that. Just put in podcast, and you get 10% off your entire order. Don't forget at liveforeverish.com, we have a lot of podcasts. You can go there and like and share and, of course, comment. We love to hear some things, and you can subscribe so you never miss a show, right? The 1-2 punch at liveforeverish.com is email, so you get a newsletter from our sponsor, and then subscribe to our podcast. That's liveforeverish.com. I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Live Foreverish, a show dedicated to helping you live just a little longer. Here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal Gossard.